Now, I've been doing my best to ignore this subject because I really don't care about whores, but one particular whore seems to made it on my radar. I don't know if the word whore goes against YouTube standards, whether you're calling somebody that or not. It may be not the nicest thing to call somebody, but I think it fits the case in this specific situation. And if you don't know who I'm talking about none other than Eliza Blue or Eliza Knows or Eliza Hose or whatever her name is. I don't know. Who knows what her name is anymore? One thing I am going to tell you is that, you see, I seem to have some type of I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I have superpowers or anything like that, but I have a very, very heightened sense of intuition. And whenever I initially saw Eliza's Twitter page, when I created my account here late last year when Elon Musk took over, automatically the way that she came off online read as disingenuous to me. Nothing out of the ordinary on Twitter or in internet social media space in general. Everybody's disingenuous, fake, pretentious, platitudinal, contrived versions of themselves online, including myself. Look at me talking to you on YouTube like I deserve to have an opinion. No, I'm just kidding. But I say all this to say that she came off as a fake weenie to me. And I don't use the term weenie lightly. You know, when I say weenie, oh, you're done for. But no, I say all this because everything that she was posting seemed like the ultra feminist pick me, not pick me too, excuse me, me too type of believe all women narrative. And I think everybody should have a problem with that narrative regardless. Like, I don't believe that anybody should we shouldn't believe anybody automatically. People are liars and usually are actually telling, I just 3 seconds ago said that people are just disingenuous, lying versions of themselves constantly, everywhere they can go. The reason that they do it on the internet is because it's so easily manageable to try and fake and lie about your life. If they could fake and lie about their actual life in reality, if they could tell you that they're 6 feet tall in reality, but you're looking at a 5'4" nothing, that makes it a little bit harder. So it's a lot easier online, or at least people think it's easier and they think that they're fooling people much easier, but they're not. Not people like me. People like you, potentially. And I don't even know who I'm talking to when I say that. So if you take it personally, I am talking about you. And if you don't take it personally, hey, probably means that you're somebody who's more on my side, because I wouldn't take it personally when people say people like you. I'm going everywhere with this one because I drank a little bit of Monster earlier and I'm a little hopped up off caffeine like Candace Owens on Timcast, calling everybody the B word. But I'm not going to call anybody the B word on this channel because maybe one day this might get monetized. Who knows? And I don't have white people and Jews paying my paycheck. Not for YouTube, not yet. At my actual job, I'm sure I do, but not here. Wow, I got really off track. I say all that to say that Eliza has in the recent days actually been exposed for, guess what? Disingenuinely using narratives and false stories of being human trafficked. Wow, that's something we've never heard before. I'm going to tell you why these type of women and these type of stories go together like bread and butter. It's a very simple aspect. A lot of the dudes on the conservative side aren't getting this because a lot of them don't deal with harlots. Me, I have dealt with my fair share of harlots in the past, so I know how they operate. Let me break it down for you. The thing about Eliza Blue is that she's going to do whatever brings her easy attention and easy money. That is why, so these women get popular and famous for oftentimes just being beautiful or laying on their back. And that is not something that inherently makes them bad, because men would love, like, being a model, being paid for being attractive. It's not your fault. The world chooses who is beautiful, not you. Whether you want to tell yourself that you're beautiful or not, the world chooses, to be honest with you. So I'm not saying that it's inherently bad for women to get paid for being attractive or having sex. I don't care. But I will say that the more attractive you are and the easier it is for you to get by on looks alone, the harder it is for you to maintain humility. And that's not an insult or a jab at them. That is quite naturally the truth. It is hard. Like when you've been told you can have everything and you're the best and da da da. Of course, dude, you're going to be mentally messed up from that. Any human would. So when there are a particular type or breed or ilk of women, whatever you want to use, that choose to be ladies of the night, whether streetwalkers, strippers, prostitutes, any level, why would you not logically try and take the path of least resistance there? As long as you maintain integrity, that would lead you to somewhere like, and I know I use that term very loosely in this regard, but without morals out the window and just keeping integrity as far as honest business practices, you would go to OnlyFans and twiddle your teedly-deedly-deedly-dee on camera for an honest living there. And you would do that. And because it's low effort, high reward, high yields. Some people who are even more or even less morally driven, some people who are pretty much only money driven and are completely anti-work, well, they're going to say that if I get all this money by showing myself off and doing these physical acts, what if there was a way that I could get away with getting the money without having to actually follow through with my end of the bargain? And a lot of them fall down this line of thinking. Well, a lot of times they will resort towards scamming people. Let's think about this. If you were an escort and you could, say, get $500 for an hour with a man, or you can get $30 as a deposit for a meetup or something like that, where you never actually see the man, but they give you the money up front because they believe, oh, it's just a lesser amount. So, I put the deposit down and I'm gonna go see them. Well, you do that with 16 dudes in that hour that you would have actually spent with a man laying on your back. And now you've made more money than you would have, and you didn't even have to do anything. That's the world that we live in. When you're talking about, and that's why a lot of the things from the underworld, whether it be drug dealing or prostitution, either need to be brought up to the light or dealt with completely. Because in the modern day and age, there's just way too many ways for a person to be scammed. And of course, your best way to not get scammed by any of these things is to abstain from them. Stay away from them. Stay away from whores and stay away from drugs that want to take your money and manipulate you and rob you and kill you. Stay away from them. I know I'm going on a very far tangent here. So let's bring it back to Eliza Blue. Now, there are certain people who don't want to go that way. They don't want to scam people for little bits and pieces of money and stuff like that. And there are some people who are honestly more intelligent and on a higher level than that. So what do? They move to a grift. And that is what Eliza has done. In order to reclaim her life and reinvent herself, she has come out as a human trafficking victim. And we were supposed to blindly believe the narrative as such. And this showed very prominently to a person like myself in her post on her media accounts. But boy, it really bust the floodgates open whenever she went on Timcast. And that leads me to think about two different things. One, either she's so oblivious to how she comes off that she didn't realize that the way that they were going to talk with her and the way that she was going to explain herself was going to completely put her under the microscope of speculation for being a potential fraud. Either she was so oblivious that she didn't realize that, or she's so hyped up and just wants the attention that she didn't even care. And she just doesn't care, and she's that fake. I don't know which one it is. And it really doesn't matter to me. Because as soon as I saw her talking about the way that she was having the rhetoric in the Tate case and the way that she was speaking about Andrew Tate, one thing I sensed was jealousy. I don't care about Andrew Tate at all. If he died tomorrow, I might giggle a little. I really don't care that much. But my point in saying that is, and I don't say that because I want bad to befall him. I'm just saying it would be like, haha, Andrew Tate died. And I know I'm cynical in that way, but that's cool. We can go on another tangent that day, or we can talk about that at another time. I'm saying all this to say that the vitriol that she spoke with about this man on these unproven incidents, as if she knew showed me what type of person that she was and showed me what type of woman that she is. And it showed a lot of other people. So they did their poking and their prodding. And if you haven't been paying attention, I said everything that I've said here in this video to say, finally, they've been finding videos of her literally on World Star Hip Hop. I'm talking about tasteless videos. And I don't mean tasteless because of nudity or sexuality, but like she's wearing like caterpillar boots, walking around in the desert, pretending to climb on rocks and stuff like that and acting sensual and sexy. And it's just not hitting any of the marks that it's attempting to hit. She's a failed video vixen is what I'm trying to get at here, who took this path and decided to reinvent herself as some human trafficking victim. And that's terrible in multiple ways. One, look at yourself morally and integrally. Like, what is wrong with you as a human to hijack these people's story and try and run your own way just to garnish attention and money? What's wrong with you? I could never do that. Two, it takes away from the people who actually are going through this in the world. Like right now, some little girl is chained up somewhere in the back of a van being driven around to God knows what, to have God knows what happened to her body. And we're giving an ounce, a moment, a second of attention to Eliza Blue instead of that child, that little girl. That's the problem that everybody has. That's the problem that people like Eliza, these first world humans who really think that they've been through an ounce of anything that people outside of this country experience. It's so annoying to me. This is a person who's been homeless twice in America before I was even 18. But you know what? Even when I was homeless, I never didn't have a place to sleep and I never didn't have food. And that's without family. I'm not talking about because of my family. I'm talking about because of the country that I lived in. And I had the Salvation Army there and Goodwill. And these aren't good places to go to, especially not for a teenage boy. But these are places, these are resources to have. And I'm saying all of this to say that in America, when anybody tells you that they've experienced some terrible traumatic event, you should always look at it with a certain tinge of skepticism so that you can fully understand what it was that they experienced. Because naturally, the worst thing that happened to any human is going to be the worst thing that happened to them. Whether it's a rich person getting a flat tire that they had to change because they were stranded away and couldn't get to their private jet or taxi or whatever you are, whatever the worst thing in your life that you experience, that is the worst thing, that's the bar, that's the highest thing. So first world problems are the worst problems that first world people experience. That's cool. I'm going to stop going off in directions. I'm saying all this to say that I'm happy that Eliza was exposed for everything that she's been saying ever since I saw her on Twitter leading up to her performance on Timcast. I was waiting for the moment that those things would crumble down around her, and I am very excited that it is finally happening. Stay tuned, because I can't wait to see when she actually attempts to come out and make a public statement about this. I'll be there in the comment section eating it up and probably making another video about it. Have a great rest of your evening.